Wichita Ethics Board will look into now 10 ethics complaints filed against Wichita Mayor Lily Wu.
Brock Wilson joins us now to look at why the ethics complaints were filed and what the mayor is saying about them. Brock?
Rachel, Mike, you may remember it was about 3 months ago. Mayor Wu was exonerated from an ethics complaint filed by the Wichita Firefighters Union. This latest round of complaints is in regards to the proclamation issued last month for the Transgender Day of Visibility. Mayor Wu says she yielded the proclamation to members of the city council that voted for it, but those that support the proclamation have accused the mayor of a lack of recognition for the trans community. The mayor has since received pushback for her actions that day. Now community members filing ethics complaints against her, claiming she acted inappropriately. Today at her weekly news conference, I asked Mayor Wu about the complaints. This was her response. Take a listen. Mayor, any comments on the ethics complaints that were filed earlier this month?
No.
Well, you heard it. Pretty simple response from the mayor. Now, as a reminder, that meeting happens at 6 o'clock tonight. Coming up on 12 News at 6, I'll talk with one of the first people to file an ethics complaint against the mayor, opening up about their decision. Rachel?
Brock, thank you. Wichita police have been testing